Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to really cut through the noise,
Right.
give you a clear understanding of a sector that's, well, it's not just growing, it's fundamentally reshaping our digital future.
Mm,
We're talking about the global market for cybersecurity consulting services.
exactly. And for this deep dive, our insights are coming straight from um, excerpts of the Global Cybersecurity Consulting Market Forecast to 2033 report.
That's the one by Cognitive Market Research.
That's right. And this report, it isn't just, throw numbers around. It gives a really comprehensive, data-driven look at the trends.
And the projections.
And the projections, yeah. The things that are really defining this crucial industry.
And what we're about to unpack here, it really goes beyond just simple growth figures.
Oh, definitely.
Get ready, because the sheer scale of this market's expansion and, the forces driving it, they're truly eye-opening.
Couldn't agree more.
So, okay, let's unpack this then. When we look at the overall global market, these cybersecurity consulting services, the numbers are, well, they're pretty astounding.
They really are.
This market was valued at around, $6.2 billion back in 2021?
Seems like a lot already, but
But here's where it gets really interesting. It's projected to nearly double by 2025. We're talking over $12 billion.
wow, just in a few years.
And then it just skyrockets. The projection for 2033 is an astonishing $44.1 billion.
44 billion.
Yeah, that's a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of nearly 18%, 17.678% to be exact, over the forecast period.
And what's fascinating here isn't just like the size of those numbers, it's the why behind them.
Exactly. What's fueling this?
Well, we're seeing this huge growth because organizations, everywhere, globally, are facing this relentless, constantly evolving barrage of cyber threats.
Right. It never stops.
It doesn't. Think about, AI-driven phishing getting smarter, the complexity of securing all these IoT devices, billions. Or the risk from supply chain attacks that can just cripple multiple businesses at once.
Yeah, those are terrifying.
They are. And these aren't just minor headaches anymore. They're serious, potentially existential threats. And they demand proactive, sophisticated defense strategies.
So it's not just about spending more money reactively.
No, not at all. This signifies a really fundamental shift.
Yeah.
It's moving away from just responding after an incident
Right.
towards building proactive, integrated digital defense as like a core business imperative. It has to be built in.
That makes sense. So, okay, if the global picture is one of such dramatic, really rapid expansion, the next question has to be, where? Where exactly are these ripples of growth turning into, well, tidal waves?
Good question.
Let's maybe take a regional deep dive, explore where this demand is hottest, and maybe see if there are any surprising hotspots you should know about.
Sounds good.
Okay, so North America. Maybe not a huge surprise, but it truly leads the charge here.
Dominating, yeah.
Its market revenue is projected to grow nearly 7 times between 2021 and 2033. It's expected to reach almost $17 billion.
17 billion just in North America.
Just North America.
Ah,
And a huge chunk of that, of course, is the United States, set to exceed $12.8 billion by 2033.
wow.
But it's not just the U.S., right? Countries like Canada and Mexico are also showing really impressive growth projections.
Absolutely. Canada looking at over $2 billion. Mexico also over $2 billion by 2033. So significant contributions across the board there.
Definitely significant. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe, also showing incredibly strong performance.
Very strong, yes.
The market there is expected to grow from just over $1.8 billion in 2021 to more than $12.3 billion by 2033. So another massive jump.
Huge growth. And you see key players there too, like the UK, Germany, France.
Right. They're all projected to see their markets go well over $1 billion within that time frame. UK around $1.3 billion, Germany $1.7, France almost $1.8 billion by 2033, Italy too, nearly $1 billion.
But what's particularly insightful in Europe, I think, is the rest of Europe segment.
Oh, what's happening there?
Well, it actually stands out with the highest CGR in the entire region,
Yeah.
over 18.7%.
Higher than the big economies.
Yeah, which suggests that beyond those, well-established digital economies, many other European countries are rapidly maturing their digital infrastructure.
Ah, okay. So they're catching up, creating this bigger need.
Exactly. Creates this magnified, almost immediate need for foundational cybersecurity services.
Yeah.
It feels like a broader digital maturation happening right across the continent.
Interesting. Okay, let's shift to Asia Pacific, another region showing Really rapid, remarkable expansion.
Absolutely. The numbers there are impressive too.
Its market is projected to surge from just under $1.2 billion in 2021 to nearly $9 billion by 2033.
Almost $9 billion.
And here's a particularly interesting fact I saw. India really stands out.
How so?
An impressive TGR of over 19.5%, set to reach over $1.3 billion by 2033.
That's very strong growth.
It is. And of course, major contributors by the end of the forecast period also include China, projected over $2.6 billion, and Japan, over $1.7 billion. Big markets.
We also see Singapore around $373 million, Southeast Asia collectively around $860 million by 2033.
And just like we saw in Europe, that rest of APAC segment is really interesting.
Let me guess. High EGR.
You got it. Expected to reach over $1 billion with an astonishing regional KGR of over 20.8%.
Wow, over 20%.
Yeah. It just highlights this broad, accelerating digital transformation across really diverse economies all through Asia Pacific.
So similar dynamic. Leapfrogging, maybe?
I think so. Many developing economies in this region are kind of leapfrogging traditional infrastructure, going straight into digital.
Mobile first, cloud first.
Exactly. And that creates an instant, urgent demand for robust cybersecurity. You need to protect it from day one.
Makes total sense.
Sure.
Okay, shifting focus again. South America. We see an emerging market here, but with significant momentum.
Definitely growing. Projected to grow from around $419 million in 2021 to over $3.2 billion by 2033.
That's a substantial increase.
It is. Brazil is a notable performer, expected to get close to $1 billion by then. Argentina also showing strong numbers, around $450 million.
And the rest of South America also contributing significantly there, with the DGR over 19%.
Okay. How about the Middle East?
The Middle East market, while it's smaller in absolute terms compared to, say, North America or Europe, it shows stable and pretty robust growth. Revenue projected to rise from just over $225 million in 2021 to more than $1.3 billion by 2033.
Handle leaders there.
Places like Saudi Arabia projected around $430 million, the UAE around $150 million, and Egypt around $120 million by 2033. Steady growth.
Okay, so we've covered North America, Europe, APAC, South America, the Middle East, all showing strong growth, some absolutely explosive. So when we put all of this in context, what does this all mean when we look at the final region, Africa?
Africa. This is where it gets really interesting from a growth rate perspective.
Right, because Africa actually leads all regions in CAGR, is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. An astounding 21.643% CAGR.
Wow, 21.6%.
Yeah, it's growing from a smaller base, around $131 million in 2021.
Okay.
But projected to reach nearly $1.3 billion by 2033.
So nearly a tenfold increase. That's genuinely the highest growth rate among all the regions we've talked about.
By a noticeable margin, yes.
And the key contributors there by 2033, we're looking at Nigeria, South Africa.
Right. Nigeria, around $227 million. South Africa, nearly $400 million. And the rest of Africa's segment is actually the largest part, projected over $660 million.
So this raises that important question again. What's driving Africa's remarkable growth rate? I mean, why the highest CAGR there?
Well, if we connect this back to the bigger picture, I think it really reflects an acceleration, a massive acceleration of digital transformation.
Okay.
And significant infrastructure development happening across the continent. You've got new internet penetration, huge mobile adoption rates, the move towards digital economies.
All happening very quickly.
Very quickly. And this creates both immense opportunities, but also, like we saw in parts of APAC, a magnified and immediate need for robust cybersecurity. You have to protect these nascent digital foundations.
It's like building a new digital city almost.
That's a great analogy. You need the architects for the design, yes, but you absolutely need the security planning for the infrastructure right from the start.
Not just waiting for the fire brigade after something goes wrong.
Precisely. That's the shift we're seeing, and perhaps most dramatically in terms of rate of change in Africa right now.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So we've really taken this incredible journey around the globe here. Looking at the numbers, sure, but I think more importantly, the stories those numbers tell. And what seems crystal clear is just the massive, widespread nature of this growth. It's everywhere, across every major region.
It really is. It's not just one or two hotspots dominating everything. It's a profound global phenomenon.
Yeah.
And just to bring it all back, that driving force behind this, well, unprecedented expansion, it remains constant. Organizations' continuous pressing need for advanced consulting services. They need help to combat increasingly sophisticated cybersecurity challenges
Right.
and, crucially, to build proactive digital defenses. It's truly a global movement towards increased digital resilience
For everyone.
for literally everyone, from the biggest corporations right down to, indirectly, individuals relying on these services.
So I guess the key takeaway for you listening today is pretty simple. The cybersecurity consulting services market isn't just growing.
Right.
It's exploding on a global scale.
Yeah.
And it's fundamentally reshaping the landscape of digital security worldwide. It's just a clear indication, isn't it, that digital defense, it's no longer just an option or an IT department issue.
No, it's a core strategic imperative, boardroom level stuff.
Absolutely.
And maybe just a final thought to leave you with. As this demand for cybersecurity consulting grows so dramatically, so globally, what new frontiers might emerge?
Like new specializations.
Yeah. Exactly. Highly specialized areas, maybe things we can't currently even imagine, to address this ever-evolving threat landscape.
Right.
Quantum computing threats, AI defense systems, whatever comes next.
Right.
And maybe also consider, how might the success or perhaps even the challenges in this absolutely critical market impact wider global economic stability in the decades to come?
That's a big question.
It is something to think about.
Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're jumping into something really vital for, well, pretty much everyone in this digital age. We're looking at the global cybersecurity consulting services market.
That's right. It's a fascinating area.
Our mission today is to sort of unpack this complex sector, what's pushing it forward, what's holding it back, and, where is it all heading?
Exactly.
And crucially, why should you care? Because ultimately it's about how organizations are trying to protect their digital stuff, their assets, their operations.
And understanding this market really gives you a window into how businesses are building resilience.
Yeah.
Against the kind of threats we're all facing now. It's about getting ahead of the curve.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture. What's really driving the growth here? I think the most obvious one is just the sheer increase in cyber attacks globally.
Oh, absolutely. The threat landscape is just relentless.
Yeah, and it's not just more attacks, right? It's the type of attacks, ransomware, phishing, those DDoS attacks. They seem more intense, more targeted.
Definitely more sophisticated. And that pressure, that constant barrage, it means companies realize they can't just, handle security themselves anymore. They need actual experts, proactive solutions.
That makes sense. And doesn't that tie into how we all work now, the whole remote work thing, cloud computing?
Precisely. That's the other huge driver. Think about hybrid work, tons of cloud apps.
Yeah.
Suddenly the perimeter is everywhere.
Right, every laptop, every connection.
Exactly. It creates all these new potential weak spots. Securing all those distributed devices and cloud services, that's a whole different ballgame than locking down one office building. That's where consultants become, well, essential.
And there's another angle too, isn't there? The rules and regulations, things like GDPR over in Europe, CCPA in California, ATA for health data, these are getting much stricter.
Yeah, the compliance piece is massive. These regulations are forcing companies to take data security and privacy way more seriously. They often have to bring in consultants just to figure out how to meet the requirements, how to do proper risk assessments.
Okay, so demand is clearly high, but it's not all smooth sailing for the market, is it? What are some of the brakes on growth? What's slowing things down?
Well, ironically, one of the biggest hurdles is finding the people. There's a real shortage of skilled cybersecurity professionals.
Really? Even with such high demand?
Yeah, it's a huge bottleneck. Consulting firms are scrambling to hire enough qualified people to actually meet client needs. And linked to that, there's the cost factor.
Right. Consulting isn't cheap.
Not at all. And that's a major barrier, especially for small and medium-sized businesses, startups. They're often the most vulnerable, but the least able to afford expert help.
That sounds like a tough spot for them. Is anything changing there? Are consultants finding ways to offer maybe more affordable packages for smaller players?
It's something the industry is grappling with. You see some tiered services, maybe more managed security offerings, trying to bridge that gap. But it's definitely an ongoing challenge. Plus, you have technical hurdles, too, like trying to integrate cutting-edge security tools with old legacy systems. Sometimes the existing infrastructure just wasn't built for modern security protocols. It can be really complex and expensive to upgrade or integrate.
Okay, so challenges exist. But looking forward, what are the exciting trends? Where's the innovation happening? I keep hearing about AI.
AI is definitely a big one.
Yeah.
We're seeing a strong push towards AI-driven security consulting, using machine learning for like advanced threat detection, predicting problems, even automating responses in real time.
So it's moving beyond just finding threats to actually predicting and stopping them faster.
Exactly. It aims to provide smarter, faster protection. It changes the consultant's role to less reactive, more proactive and predictive.
Interesting. What else is trending?
Another major shift is the move towards zero trust frameworks.
Zero trust. Explain that a bit.
Sure. The old model was kind of trust but verify inside the network. Zero trust basically says never trust, always verify. Doesn't matter if you're inside or outside the network, every user, every device has to prove it's legitimate, constantly.
So continuous verification.
Right. Consultants are key in helping businesses set up that robust identity verification and strict access control. It's really reshaping security strategy.
And one last trend I've noticed is this talk about integrating cyber insurance with the consulting.
Yes, that's becoming more common. Consulting is broadening out. It's not just the tech side anymore. It includes financial risk modeling, helping companies align their security efforts with their insurance coverage to manage overall risk and liability better. It's becoming more holistic.
So wrapping this up, the main takeaway seems pretty clear. Cybersecurity consulting, it's not really an optional extra anymore.
Not at all.
It's become a fundamental part of business strategy in pretty much every sector.
All right.
Constantly evolving, too.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As these threats keep changing, how can you start thinking about applying some of these ideas, even just in your own digital life? What proactive steps could you take, inspired by this, to better protect yourself down the road? Something to think about.